Um, Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the NAIJA-JUG Lightning Talk section to be hosted. We have a very wonderful speaker in the house, and the name Professor Manuel Campos.
Yes.
Um, we are glad to have you in our community. We are very delighted to see you, and we are so much happy. I'm gladly awaiting this amazing topic which you are about to expose to us. Um, Modern Java and TypeScript, a match made in heaven. It's an amazing topic, and I believe everyone in the community has been eager, waiting for this day to come. And I'm delighted the time is finally here. Welcome once again, Sir, Mr. Manuel Campos. You are very welcome to NAIJA-JUG. Thank you.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
yeah, in a second, we should give you the floor to actually take on the lightning talks. Without wasting much time, we already have quite a number of people on the platform. I think it's a good time for we to start. And at this
Okay.
point, I would like to welcome you, sir, to have the floor and go ahead with the presentation.
Okay. Thank you to the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you. And I'd like to share some insights about software development, Java and TypeScript software development. And as you are all Java developers, maybe you don't have some front-end skills. I don't consider myself a full stack developer, but I think that us as Java developers, we have a lot to contribute to front-end development. I'll just share my slides here. Just take a sec. Um, can you see my slides?
Yes, very well from my end.
Okay. So let's do it. I'm very I'm very proud to be here. It's a pleasure for me, as I said, to share this talk with you, and it's intended to be to show some different tools to develop full stack web applications using Java and TypeScript, and I'm willing to show some codes so that we can get our hands dirty with code. So let's just dive in. And as you know, us developing web applications, full stack web applications is difficult because mainly when you are using different languages, you are using, for instance, Java on the back end and another language on the front end. We know there is some need to sync these two applications because they need to communicate and they use different languages, they use different tools, and there are different teams working on back end and front end. And the main of this talk is to bridge the gap between the development of back-end applications and front-end apps. And for that, we know that creating this kind of full stack applications using different technologies, because as you know, JavaScript, TypeScript are very popular in the front-end world. But We as Java developers, we know the strengths of Java for the back end, but there is this consistent gaps between back end and front end development, and it's really common to see a change in some back end API to break the front end, and this causes issues, errors, and inconsistencies. And this is really common, and this is a pain that every developer feels during the development lifecycle. And this talk, the goal is to reduce this pain using some automation process to bridge this gap between backend and front end. And when you are, as a backend developer, aware of how the front end works, you are able to work better, to be a better team player, and to improve the development life cycle, to speed up software development, and to help front-end developers to create their apps, and everyone just it's a win-win for everyone. So closing this gap reduces rework, improves collaboration between the teams, and in the end, you just have more reliable systems, better products with less bugs, less integration issues, and things like that. And for that, what I'm proposing is the use of Java in the backend and TypeScript in the front end. So this language, they really fit really well together because they are very similar. And it's not by chance that I selected TypeScript to use to develop front-end applications, because they have similar features. For instance, Java is a strong typed language, as well as TypeScript. They both have interfaces. You can define abstract classes. And as you know, this is really important to provide code reuse and to define contracts so that both front end and back end can communicate accordingly following a defined contract. And this is really great to ensure proper communication between both applications. And we have a lot of different features in both languages, like inheritance, polymorphism, generics, enums, and even visibility modifiers that you don't have in JavaScript. TypeScript provides such kind of features that we as Java developers, we are used to. And there are a lot of different features like TypeScript decorators which related to Java notations. They are really similar, and we are used to these features. And when you go to a front-end language that don't have such features, we seem a little bit lost, and it's difficult for us as back-end developers to work efficiently with the front-end teams. And this way, these languages, they are just well related. They have a lot of different features they have in common. And to reduce this gap between front end and back end, I think we need to start defining the application architecture. And there is a architecture which is called feature-oriented or feature-driven architecture, which I use to better organize how the features that will be developed, even in both in front end and in back end applications, that provides a more organized folder structure. We know that application architecture is not about folder structure, but this feature-oriented architecture is just about it. It's how you organize your features inside your project. And this is really great because it provides a cohesive structure. When you need to find some feature, you know that, almost everything you need is inside a given folder. So this provides more organization for projects, even larger projects. Mainly larger projects can benefit from this kind of architecture. And using this feature-oriented architecture is really great when you mirror the back-end and the front-end architecture using this same structure. Because if you are a back-end developer and your back-end application follow this structure, this architecture, and you go to the front-end app and it follows the same architecture, it will be easier to go from the back-end to the front-end and go back to translate to go back between the two projects, to navigate between these two projects. So this is really, it's really useful, and it makes it easier for team members to join the project. And I think there is a feature image missing here, but I will show how this feature-oriented architecture works in practice. So don't worry. Let's just move on. I think the image is missing, but let's go on. I just have a few slides, so I want to jump directly to the code to show how this works and how this integration between Java and TypeScript works. So for this integration, this seamless integration, I will use a lot of automation to eliminate manual work, because as you know, if I create a class, for instance, a product class at the back end, I need usually to create a product class at the front end. If you are using object-oriented programming on the both sides, it's common that you have a product class in Java and a product class in your front end. And if you are using TypeScript in the front end, you will need to have some product class written in TypeScript. And usually this is made by hand. You have to write your Java code and you have to write your front-end code, your TypeScript classes or interfaces. And that takes a lot of time. And we can automate a lot of tasks, and I will show you a lot of different tools that I have been created and that I have been using and contributed to automate those tasks. So I really like to automate tasks. I really like to reduce manual work. So this kind of integration, this kind of automation eliminate issues between the communication, the backend and front-end communication, because if you have a class at the backend and you add required field, you will need that same required field on the front end. And if you forget to include that field on the front end, you will have, for instance, build errors or even runtime errors, which is the worst. So this kind of automation is intended to speed up software development and to speed up delivery. So you will deliver software faster and with higher quality. And in the end, you even improve developer experience, because you just stop taking a lot of time in manual work. So this is really great and increases maintainability, software maintainability, because you have to take care less about some changes. When you have to change something on the back end, you need to manually change the same thing on the front end. And we can avoid these manual changes, and this is speed up software development. And this is our first tool that I will show you, which automates some of these manual tasks and that generates code for you. There is a library called DTO Gem. The link is on the slides. You can see all the links here. I shared the slides with you at the chat, so you have the link there. And this is a library that I have created last year that I have been using in some projects. And it's really great because it automates the process of generating data transfer objects. Do you know what a data transfer object is? Everyone knows what is a DTO? Yeah, great. So and you know that if you have, for instance, a product class, it's usual to have a product DTO class. When you are writing a REST API, you don't usually expose your entities, your product class. You expose your DTOs. So, for instance, you can have a product DTO only with the fields that you want to expose for the front end, and this way you just defines how the data will be shown to the front end. And this is really great because you have control about the fields. For instance, if you have a user class and it has a password field, I don't want to expose the password for the front end. And usually you can create a user DTO without the password field. But this is manual work. Using DTO gen, I can just use a couple annotations, and when I build my project, the DTOs are created for me, and I have some really great features. For instance, if you use Hibernate validation to validate your fields, to define that a field is required, for instance, if you put a not null annotation, that field is required. But if you create your DTOs by hand, you need to replicate these annotations inside your DTO. And if you change the annotations on the entity class, for instance, on your product class, you need to manually change the annotations on the product DTO class. And this is manual work and is even error prone. You can forget to update the annotations on the product DTO class. So this library, it helps you in this process, and it's preserves your validations, your validation annotations, and it has a really great feature because it syncs your Java docs with your DTOs, and I will show you in the next slides. So here is an example, and I will open the project. I have a project that I can run here, but right now I'll just show some snippets so you can understand how these tools work. And here at the left, I have a sample class, which I call it person. And it has some fields, some regular fields, ID, name, weight, and a lot of other fields. And I have some Hibernate validation annotations. For instance, here at the name attribute, I have a not null and not blank. And for instance, here at the foot size, I have a min with and max annotations, which defines the minimum and maximum value for this attribute. And as you can see here at the top, I have a @DTO annotation. This is the magic. I just need this annotation. And when I put this annotation here and build the project, here at the right, I will get this person DTO. And as you can see, if I have some Java docs here, for instance, the profession field here, it has some Java doc, it has some docs. And this documentation is copied to the same field here at the person DTO. And as you can see, this person DTO is a record. That's why the attributes documentation is up here, not inside every attribute here. So this is just how you document a record attribute. And if I change these docs here at left at my entity class and build the project again, this documentation here will be updated. And if I change, for instance, these annotations, these validation annotations here, when I build, they will be updated here. So you just have a single place to work. You don't need to write anything. You don't need to touch this person DTO. And this is the awesome part of this library, this DTO gem library. The link is here. You can see this link here. You can check the library at GitHub. And let's move on to the next tool, which is the TypeScript generator. This is not a library that I created. This is some open source library available at GitHub. I have contributed to this library, fixing some issues, but I have to confess the library is a little bit abandoned, and I'm thinking in create a fork to get the work going, so get the library going. So because this is a really great library. This is the library that does the magic. It generates TypeScript code for you based on your Java classes. If you have, for instance, that product class or that product DTO record, it will automatically be automatically converted to TypeScript. And when you change your Java code and recompile, rebuild your project, it will regenerate these TypeScript files for you. So this is really awesome because it provides a seamless integration between the back end and the front end, and you have an automatic sync between the two applications. So this is really great, and this library is really simple. You just need, you just need to add and configure a dependence. If you have a Maven project or a Gradle project, you just add a dependence inside your project file. For instance, in Maven projects, you have the pom.xml, and in Gradle, you have build.gradle file. And you just add your dependency there, configure, and that is it. You don't need to write anything else. So this tool is really great. And this is a sample. After you add the dependence, you just need to rebuild your project. When you rebuild your project, if you have here at the right, we have the seat class, for instance, which is an entity, is a JPA, a Hibernate entity, and I have included the DTO annotation. So when I build the project, I will get a city DTO record with the name and state fields. And when I build, this TypeScript code will be generated for me. I will have a city interface inside the TypeScript file with the exact same fields. And even here, I have the state attribute, which is a state type. This state is just another class, and I will have the same class state here from Java in TypeScript too. So it reads your entire project and parses all the entities and the DTOs to TypeScript. It converts all your Java and entities and DTOs to TypeScript. But this is configured. You can configure, for instance, I just want this package, this Java package to be converted to TypeScript. Or I just want classes that implement some interface to be converted to TypeScript. So this is really configured. You have a lot of different configurations, and it's really easy to configure as you need. So this is really great. And as you can see here, I have at the right, I have this city Java class, and I have some documentation here for the state attributes, saying this is the country state where the city is located. And as you can see here at left, the same documentation is copied to the TypeScript code in the same way as we saw before for the DTO records that are generated from this at DTO annotation. So if you just change this Java doc here and rebuild your project, this documentation inside your TypeScript code will be updated as well. So this is really, really awesome. I love this library. And this magic of copying the Java doc to TypeScript documentation is done using this XML doclet library, which is you just need to include it as a dependence and configure, and that is it. You don't need to do anything else. And this is really great because for if you are creating your classes, your Java classes, it's important that the front-end developers, they can see the same documentation that you wrote in your Java classes. And if you change that documentation, the front-end documentation will be updated automatically when you rebuild your project. So this is really, really awesome. And this library is really great. And this library is not, I'm not the owner, but I'm one of the contributors of this library. And the last version, I was accountable to update this library from Java 8 to Java 23. So it works up to Java 23. I don't know if it will work with the most recent Java versions. I just need to try to check. But probably yes. And if not, the change that needs to be done, they are small changes for sure, because the most difficult part was to upgrade from Java 8 to Java 23. Yeah, but this is really awesome because it's plug and play. You just need to add the dependence, and it works right away. So this is really, really great. And a final library, I think that is it. It's a library that I have created called Automatic Java Class Assessors. I don't know if you are familiar with the expression assessors, but assessors is just a generic term for getters and setters. So if you have getters and setters, you have assessors. But Java doesn't provide this as a built-in language feature. So some language like C#, TypeScript, and other language, they provide this kind of feature. And this is really great when you have built-in assessors, because it is more straightforward to create these getters and setters. We know that as Java developers, one of our pains is because we create classes and you need to include getters and setters, and this just pollutes the code. We start with a class that has a lot of code, and most of this code is just boilerplate, and this is really, really sad. But we know that since Java 16, we have records. Everyone knows what a Java record is. Are you familiar with Java records? Yes. So Java records, for those who don't know what it is, it's like a class, an immutable class, which just getters. They don't have setters. And when you create a record, you get all args constructor out of the box and getters out of the box. You just need to define your attributes, and you get the getters, the constructor, a toString method and hash code and other utility methods right away. You don't need to write this usual Java code. So this is really great, but records don't play really well with Hibernate, with JPA, because when we use Hibernate, we need to change state. We need to mutate our entities. You create an object, we need to change that object attributes. And as I said, records, they are immutable, so they don't play well with Hibernate. If you are just if you are just querying the database, so you can use records. But if you are just issuing select commands, you can use records. But if you are issuing update, delete, and insert commands, you can't use records with JPA and Hibernate. And to reduce this boilerplate, we usually rely on Lombok. Everyone knows what Lombok is. Are you familiarized with Lombok? Yeah? I like Lombok. It's a really great Java library. It generates code for us, right? So it generates getters, setters, constructors, toString, and a lot of different features. For instance, we can create a builder class with a single annotation just using Lombok. I really love Lombok. I have used it a lot, but it has many issues. Here I brought 4 articles saying that you should stop using Lombok. And if you dig deeper, you will find a lot of other articles saying the same thing. But what is the issue? It's easy to misuse Lombok. That is the issue, and it requires IDE support. So fortunately, every popular IDE nowadays supports Lombok. IntelliJ, NetBeans, Eclipse, even VS Code has built-in support for Lombok. But yes, you need IDE support. And sometimes we have build issues with Lombok. It's not unusual. You struggle trying to build a project that uses Lombok. Every time Spring is updated, Lombok stops working, and this is really sad. Despite this is a really great tool. So for me, I created this Java class assessors library as a way to eliminate Lombok from my projects. So because of these issues, and even one of the issues I have reported, but I can't fix. I don't have the skills to fix these Lombok issues. So, but using my library, again, you just need to include it as a dependence, and you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to use additional annotations. You don't need to configure anything else. You just add your dependence there, and it is done. And what this library does, you can see here at the top, I have a city class with 2 attributes, name and state. And these attributes are public. I defined this attribute as public on purpose. But I have some getters and setters here. For instance, I have a set name and set state, but I don't have a get state. I have a get state, but I don't have a get name. And if I try to use this class, for instance, here at the bottom, as the attributes are public, I can access them directly. So I can just access the name attribute directly and assign some value to it. But using the library, these lines, these two lines here at the bottom, these lines where I am assigning values to the attributes, they will be replaced during build time by the setter call. So I don't need to worry because the setter, if there is a setter, the setter will be called. If I'm, for instance, here at the last line, I'm accessing the name and the state attribute. And as you can see, I have a get state method, but here I'm reading the state attribute directly. But when I use the library, when I build the project, this instruction sit.state, it will be replaced by sit.getState. It will be replaced by the getter call. And in the case of the name, I don't have a get name, so it won't replace that instruction here. So I will just access the attribute directly. And this way, I don't need to worry, for instance, if I don't have business logic for these getters and setters, I don't need to include boilerplate getters and setters. Why I included those getters and setters here? Because I really have some validations. For instance, the set state, it validates the state parameter. It checks if it's null. If it's null, it replaces with an empty string and transforms it to uppercase. But in the get state, I don't have a logic. I don't have a business logic here. So I don't need this get state. Why I have included it? Just to show you that when I run this project, this getter will be called and this getting state message will be printed to you. So I can see the getters and setters are actually called. So this is really great. And I think it simplifies the development process. And one last thing that I need to take care to make everything work, to make this seamless integration between front end and back end, is to use a mono repo, a mono repository. I need to have a single Git repository where I put my both applications, the back end application and the front end application. And if you do that, you simplify a lot of things because as you saw, when I build the back end, some front-end code is generated, and this front-end code, this TypeScript code, this needs to be checked in my Git repository. And if the two applications are in different repositories, I can't sync them. I can't sync this code. We know that we have, for instance, Git modules, which is a way you can share code between different Git repositories, but using a mono repository is simpler, is straightforward, and I think this is the best approach for this architecture that I'm showing you. So how this entire development life cycle works. Here I have a link to a full stack application. It's a back-end application written in Spring Boot and a front-end application written in React with Next.js and TypeScript, of course. And it's an open source project. It's a sample application. You can go there and check the documentation, the code, but not the entire code is in English because I'm translating from Portuguese to English. Sorry, this is a work in progress, but you can check the code itself is in English, but some docs are in Portuguese. As I'm Brazilian, I'm used to write some sample applications in Portuguese, but I need to get this done, okay? So this is the entire software development lifecycle for this application. For instance, you make some changes at the back end, you build and run your backend application. This will auto-generate TypeScript DTOs and entities for you. It will generate the DTO records in Java for you too. And then you update your front end and you check if there are some build errors due to these changes on the back end. So this is really straightforward, okay? And let's dive into the code, okay? I don't know if you have some questions right now.
All right. Please, from the audience, please, if you have a question,
Yeah.
our speaker is ready to take your questions. Please, just
At the
kindly raise up your hand and I will call you up.
if there is anyone with questions, just raise their hands. Is that right?
Um, all right, okay. Maybe in the absence of that, we might have to continue, but if any hands comes up, then we will have to take the question, if that will be okay by you.
Okay, so let's move on. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you the project here. Are you seeing my IntelliJ window? Yeah?
Yeah, clearly, from here.
Okay, so I have these two applications opened here. I have the back end and the front end. They are different applications. They are different projects, but they are inside the same Git repository. And as you can see here, let me close here. I have at the left my project structure, and that feature-driven architecture is about folder structure, folder organization. And as you can see here, I have a city, I have a feature folder, and inside that folder, I have a subfolder for each feature that I need to implement in my application. For instance, I have a city feature, which is just a CRUD. It's just a seed CRUD. I will create cities, delete, and update cities. So this is just that. And as you can see, I have a city class, and this is my entity, my Hibernate entity, and I have this DTO annotation here. I will delete this target directory here, so you can see that I will build the project from scratch. So I don't have the target folder anymore. I don't have compiled files anymore. So if I just build the project using, for instance, nvn package, it will rebuild the entire project for me. And this is when the magic happens. So let it finish, and it just takes a while. It's running some tests and it's done. The build is done. And as you can see here, I have the targets directory again. And I have this city class. And if I go to the city controller, you can see here that I am using a city DTO class, which is not a class, it's a record. But if I right click, I click here and open this city DTO, you can see it is not inside the source directory. It's inside the target directory. So if I just delete this and rebuild my project, now the project is with build errors because I deleted that file. But if I just rebuild it, it will regenerate that file for me and everything will be working again. So sometimes IntelliJ just gets lost, but let's see here. I have, maybe I need to make a clean package. It happens sometimes. You just need to delete everything and rebuild the entire project again. So it works. Let's just wait here, just a sec. And yeah, so sometimes you just need to make a fresh build. And here is my city DTO again. It's inside the targets directory. This is not checked in my Git repository. If you go to the project at the Git repository here, backend, I don't have this target class as expected. I don't have this target class here. So I just need to build and this file will be generated for you. And as you can see, I have the documentation. The documentation is copied from the city class here to the city DTO. Even the attributes documentation is copied for you. And you have here all the Hibernate validation annotations right here. You don't need to worry about changing anything. For instance, let me change something here. A city somewhere in the world. I don't know. Let me delete this A here and let me put this in capital letter and let me build here at the terminal because it's faster. Let me package. I will skip tests so the build is faster. Let me see. I saved, yes. So now I don't think it's city. Yeah, city uppercase here, but something's wrong here. I deleted the A here. Let me try to rebuild here. Let's see. Well, it's not syncing. Maybe I need to clean, make a clean build again. Let's try. So no A. No. This is not. It's not the same documentation from here. So this is not the same text. This is a constant. So that's the confusion. This is context. This is will not change. So only the attributes documentation will change. As you saw here, I changed it to uppercase. So that is it. And if I change some attribute here, for instance, if I delete this not blank here and try to rebuild, it's rebuilding. Yeah, and it's name. Yeah, name. And name here, it's just not no. I don't have not blank anymore. So you have just to rebuild your project. But let me put it back. And let me run this app. This is my backend application. It's running. And I can start this application here. HTTP localhost 88. And since this is a Spring REST API and it has open API, an open API dependence, Swagger library, I have this interface which is built automatically for me. So you just need to include the open API dependence and it's done. And this is the REST API the front end will access. For instance, if I let me see here, for instance, if I want to get the products, I have all the products here. For instance, notebook, TV, iPhone, and other products. And let's run the front end app. And as you can see, let me show you here. the front end uses the same feature-driven architecture. So I have a feature folder and a city folder. So it's easier to navigate between front end and back end, because as you understand the project architecture, you understand the back end, the front end applications really well. And but of course there are some difference, because they are different technologies. And for instance, I have a view and a validation here at the front end that we don't have at the back end, because validation at the back end are made differently from the front end. In the back end we use hibernate annotations, and here in the front end I just use Zod, which is a validation library for TypeScript. So it's completely different, and there is nothing we can do about it. There are some annotation-based libraries for TypeScript, but annotations are called decorators in TypeScript, and decorators are not a final feature. They are in beta right now, and we just need to wait they be mature so we can use in production. So there are some difference between the back end and the front end, of course, but the structure, the architecture is similar. This is the really good part, because if we need to change something inside the city, we know that we just need to go into the city folder, and almost everything we need will be inside this folder, and this is easier. And what about our entities and DTOs? Because as you remember, we have this city and city DTO. Where is the city DTO? Here, city DTO. We have these two Java files, city.java and city.dto.java. When I build the backend, it will generate a file here. Let me find it here. App model, and I have this model.generated.ts. It's a TypeScript file, and the name of the file you can configure, but I use this is the full name to make it clear this file is generated, and you must not change this file. So this doesn't make sense. If you change this file when you rebuild your project, the file will be overwritten and you lost all your changes. So as you can see here, I have the same city class with the same docs that I have inside my backend application. Even the attributes have the same documentation here. And if I change anything, for instance, let's try to add a new attribute to the backend. Let's come here, and for instance, I don't know, let me see the product class. Maybe there is something we can add inside of the product class. I don't know, maybe weight. So let's include our weight here. And I will define this weight at not null. So this is a required field. And let's use this decimal mean to say that the minimum value is 0. Okay, so and I don't need to worry. As you can see here, I don't have getters and setters because I'm using that auto class accessors. So I just define all the attributes as public, and if I need to really include some getter or setter with some business logic, I just include those accessors here, and they will be called automatically. So we don't need to worry about that. And I included this weight attribute inside my product, but of course, I don't know if I have. Let me run the front end app first. So I will just comment this for a while. And is there, let me see. Oh, I commented the wrong attribute. So it's this one. Let's just comment this one for a little bit. And let me run my front end app. So it's running, and it runs in the port 3000, and it will communicate with my backend. So I don't have a product here, so we need to change the cities because the product is not working. I don't have a page for products. I haven't tried this, but let's try to change. I don't know if it will work, but let's try to change something here and hope it works. And it's not working because I see what's wrong. I don't have the abbreviation field, and it is required. And what can I do? Let me see here. What will be easier? Maybe I will just try to delete something. Let's see. I try to delete this. Yes, it's working. The delete is working. So São Paulo, this state is being used, so I can't delete it, but other ones I can delete. I won't be able to delete everything, but no problem. Let's just try to include some changes in the city instead of the product. And let me remove this, and let's change the city. And let's say the city has some abbreviation. Public string abbreviation. And let's say this is not null and not blank. And if it's not blank, I need to update my data in the database. So I have here, I have import.sql file, and this is the city. I have there is a lot of cities. This is an issue. Okay, so let's just make it optional. Abbreviation is optional, so I just rebuild my entire backend project, and it's building. Just a while. We have some test filers because, as you know, I changed something and my test may broke. This is expected. So let's try to build without the tests. Yeah. So tests are failing because I introduced some breaking change. I don't know why. I would need to check the tests. But let's see the city DTO. And here I have my new field, abbreviation field here. And let's check our front-end app. And my city here, hey, really great. I have a new abbreviation field here. And as you can see, this field is optional. But we have a lot of different ways to define an optional field, but this is configurable. So it may seem a little bit strange because only this would be enough to define this abbreviation as optional. We have this question mark here. This is a TypeScript feature. So, but as I said, this is configurable. And this is really great because if this field is required, if it was required, I would get some errors here. I wouldn't be able to build my front end if this field was required. Let me try to do that, but maybe I won't be able to run the app my backend app, because if I set this field as required, I need to change all these cities here. So one by one, let me make things simple. Let me just delete all these cities here, and all these customers, because the customers are linked to some city, and I may have deleted the city the custom is linked to. And let me include the abbreviation here, and let me say the São Paulo abbreviation is SP, and that is it. And now I will make this abbreviation required. I will say it's not null and not blank, And let me try to rerun the app, just in case. I have Spring Boot DevTools, so it restarts the app for me. So I don't need to do that. But let's rebuild the app here, and let's see what happens. So I have now these two new annotations here. Oh, the tests are failing. So I need to build without the tests, without running the tests. Yeah, so now it's working. And let's see abbreviation. We have the same annotations for the abbreviation field, for the city DTO. And let's check the front end. And our city, now we don't have that exclamation, that question mark anymore. So this field is required in the front end. It doesn't accept no, it doesn't accept undefined. You just need to set a value for this field. And let's check the city feature here. We have the views, which are the pages. And let me open some page here and see. Maybe here, let me see. As you can see now, can you see that my page is not working anymore? You can see it's showing some errors here. And let's try to find the error. And now we have an error here. Why? Because I have defined initial values for the name, the state, but I haven't defined a value for the abbreviation attributes. So my front end doesn't build anymore because we changed the contract. We changed the city entity at the back end, and the contract with the front end is broken. And I want to be able to deploy this new version because it's not building. So this is really great. You have end-to-end type safety. If you change something at the back end that breaks the front end, you will see that immediately. And in this way here, I need to include some initial value for the abbreviation field, and the error is gone. But of course, if this is a form, I need to include a field for the abbreviation. So for instance, let me copy this here and include here. And the field is abbreviation. And let me try this and see if it works. Yeah, I think it is it. Oh, I really needed this one. Yeah. So let's try here. And maybe something's wrong because I changed something. So if I change something, the front end may break because of those changes. So let me try. You remember the tests were not working here at the back end. So let me see what's wrong here. City not found. I don't know if we have something that depends on city, maybe not. No, I don't think so. So let's try to run. I may have broken something, so it's normal. Let's see here. The cities. City. Let's try to access the cities. I don't have cities anymore, so I just broke something. I don't know what exactly, so this happens. State ID, name, abbreviation. Yeah, it should work. City. Maybe the name of the field is wrong. I don't know. Let me try to clean and rebuild.
Somebody said the word is wrong.
Warnings.
The word, probably the spelling. I don't know. Is that what you mean?
No, I didn't get what you said.
Okay, check. Somebody dropped something in the text box.
The text box, but the text box is just at the front end.
Oh,
The chat section in the call.
No, I'm not getting what you are saying. Sorry. Maybe the audio is a little bit noisy.
okay. He's actually
in
trying to say that
abbreviation.
someone on the
There is missing an I in abbreviation. Somebody said that, but abbreviation. I just copy it. Abbreviation here, but I'm not seeing the error. Let me because the log is not showing any errors. Oh, here. No, I see. Let's check it. Customer. Okay. Customers. Customer. No, I don't have customers anymore. I deleted customers. Purchase. Okay. Here's the issue. I deleted the customers, so I need to delete the purchases. Okay. So this is the issue. I wasn't seeing the error message, so let's try to rerun. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's try to see the cities, and yes, I have the city São Paulo here, and let's try to access the cities here. Yeah, I have São Paulo here, and if I try to access São Paulo and put something here different, and let's try to update, and yes, it's working. And let's just try to add some new column here, and let me check this one. It's here. I have the columns, and I can just create a new column, and abbreviation, This is really great because as you can see here, this table here, it will just iterate around a city array. So this item is a city, and this is really great. Using TypeScript is really great because you have access to all the attributes of the object. And our abbreviation field here, I can just put item dot, and ta-da, there is my new abbreviation field there. I can just use. If I misspell something here, I will get error, and this doesn't build, this doesn't compile. So let's just save and refresh. And yeah, abbreviation SP, but I think I changed that. Yeah, it's not changing. It's not changing, but it's working. It's showing the field there. I don't know why it's not changing. Maybe the name of the field is wrong. Abbreviation. Maybe something is wrong here, but okay, no problem. So that's it, guys. As you can see, this is these tools, they automate a lot of work for you. You don't need to care about a lot of different things. You don't need to write everything by hand. And when you change something at the back end, you rebuild, and you may get some build errors at the front end. If you add a new field inside an entity, you just need to include that new field in your front end, in your web page. You don't need to include that field inside the interfaces, the TypeScript interfaces here. The field is automatically included for you, and if it's a required field as this one, your code won't compile anymore. And that is it. So the final question, is modern Java and TypeScript a match made in heaven? So you tell me, let me know what you think. And thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this talk. I hope you enjoyed seeing all these tools working together.
Thank you very much, Campos, for a very wonderful presentation. I think at this point, we will allow people to come in with their questions. We have
Okay.
Israel raising his hand. Yeah, Israel, you can go ahead. Hello, Israel, are you there?
Okay. Yes, good evening, everyone. Please, can you confirm you can hear me?
All right. I can hear you from my end. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Good evening, moderator.
good evening.
And good evening, presenter. I think so far, I joined late to what so far everything I've seen here is, quite outstanding. It's quite interesting that you now have an alternative, you understand, for Lombok. I mean, despite the whole issues raised. I mean, maybe you have runtime errors and all those things using Lombok. We still find our way around it, going as well to, still make use of Lombok. You understand? So I have some couple of questions, but I think these will definitely take some of our time. But I would want to ask some here and probably just drop the rest on the group. So I don't know if that's fine by you. I can go ahead, right?
So it's not
Yeah,
clear
go ahead.
what the question was. You are having some issues with Lombok, yes? But I did not get the question.
Please, can you
Okay,
confirm you
Mr.
can hear
Israel,
me clearly?
I can hear you clearly. Can you please recap your question?
Yes, like I was just giving, more of like a statement now before going ahead with the question. So I was saying I have
Okay.
quite a lot of questions currently to understand, but I would have like to ask some here, then probably on the group just drop the rest here because I think the time is fast spent, so
Okay.
that we don't waste a lot of time here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
currently, I would say one of my questions would be, looking into language evolution, which is Java itself right now. So how
Yeah.
does this tool currently, I mean, this library, you understand? So how does this tool handle new Java features? I mean, when it comes to the whole
Yeah.
records, the C classes, pattern matching. So
Yeah. Well, let me see if I got the question right. How I handle the Java language updates in these
yes, exactly.
libraries that I have shown. Yeah, this is really hard. As you may know, it's hard to keep up with all the improvements in the Java language.
Exactly.
And after Java 8, I don't remember when they started to release a new version after each 6 months. But as you know, we have a new version at every semester, and they come with a lot of incredible features, and it's really difficult to keep up with, mainly when you are developing libraries like those ones that I have shown. And this is really difficult. For instance, the XML doclet, this was a project that I contributed to, and it was abandoned. It stopped in Java 8, and since it uses the JavaDoc API, the JavaDoc API, it changed a lot. It changed in Java 8 and changed it again in Java 10 or 11. And it changed a lot because the original JavaDoc API was just messy, and Oracle realized, yeah, Oracle realized that, and they decided to rewrite the entire API. But if you were using the old API, your code didn't build anymore. So you just needed to rewrite everything. And it took a lot of time and effort for me. Maybe this is an open source project, right? XML Doclet is an open source project. And I had to work 2 weeks to get the project building with JDK 23. But now I think it's easier to get the project going because we won't see a lot of breaking changes. So it's easier because the Java API, JavaDoc API is more stable, and this is really great. We have a lot of new features, but most of the times we don't have a breaking change. So it's easier. Right now it's easier.
Okay, that makes sense. So I would also want to know what your recommendation would look like, or what would be your recommendation for, let's say, some sort of migration flow for, let's say, an enterprise project that has been using Lombok for years, understand?
Yeah,
And also,
yeah.
does the tool can it coexist? Let me put it that way. Can it coexist with Lombok, or it has to be used separately from Lombok?
Well, migrating from Lombok is maybe a little bit difficult, but not because we don't have tools for that. We have Lombok provides a tool called the Lombok, and even IntelliJ, it has some feature there. I don't remember where, but it has a menu where you can just remove Lombok from your entire code base. So this is easy. This is not the most difficult part, but the thing is, we are used to Lombok, and I think the most difficult part is to how can I say, to get used to remove it, to do the things the old way without Lombok. This may be a bigger change. You need to adapt how you write code, because yeah, Lombok is great. I really love the library. And for instance, my library that I created, the auto class assessors, it doesn't provide the same features that Lombok provides. So for instance, if you want to create a builder class, using Lombok, you just use an annotation. You just use at builder. You just include a at builder at the top of your class, and it is done. And I don't have this feature in my library because the goal is different. The main goal is to provide features that don't depend on IDE plugins. So my library, it doesn't include, for instance, it doesn't include new methods inside your class. It just changes existing methods. It works similar to Lombok. It changes bytecode. It is a bytecode manipulation library. So when you build your project, it changes the generated bytecode, but it doesn't provide it doesn't include new methods or new attributes as Lombok does. So that's why my library, it works without IDE plugins. And this makes it easier for you to set up your project, because sometimes, I don't know why, we have a project, it's building, and the next day it's not, because something changed, some dependence changed, and Lombok is not working anymore, or it's just sometimes just an issue with IntelliJ. For me, it's really common. I build a project, and the other day I can't build it anymore, and I have to delete the .idea IntelliJ folder and restart the project, reopen the project, and it builds again. And Lombok has this kind of issues. I don't know if it's a specific Lombok issue or is an IntelliJ issue, a Lombok plugin issue. So, but it's difficult. I didn't get. I don't know if I answered your first question, but you had two. I didn't get the second question.
Yes, you got the first question. So the following question was, could your tool coexist with Lombok as well?
Sorry, could you repeat, please? Because the audio is a little bit noisy.
I mean, could your tool coexist with Lombok?
Oh, yeah. Well, it can coexist, but I haven't tried that. And but my goal is to avoid using them together. So, but yeah, they may coexist, but the setup may be a little bit difficult, because Lombok is a annotation processor, as well as my library, my data auto class assessors. And when you have these libraries, one library may depend on the other one, and you need to set up the order these annotation processors, and this sometimes is tricky. Even with Lombok, is tricky. For instance, as you saw, I'm using a library to read the Java docs, but this library needs to be executed before the bytecode manipulation, so that I can include the Java docs inside the generated code. So this is tricky. Okay, but I have to try. I haven't tried that, but it may work.
Okay, because the reason for that question is currently the tool seems to have some sort of learning curve. So it's, if you are doing some sort of migration, it would be easier. You have, both alongside. Yeah. I mean, as we are doing the migration, definitely Lombok is still doing its thing. Then yours is doing its thing as well. Just saying, not necessary.
So if you are doing some migration that uses Lombok, and I didn't get the end.
I mean, if we are doing a migration, I mean, it would be lovely they can coexist, you understand? In the sense that, yes, we are migrating to your tool, then, leaving
Yeah,
Lombok, but while we are doing that, Lombok is
yeah,
still doing its thing. Not necessarily, but it's just something.
yeah. If you are migrating from Lombok to my tool, it if you use the Lombok tool, it will work well because my tool doesn't depend on some annotation like Lombok. Lombok, if you want getters and setters, you have to include the @getter or @setter annotation on your class. But my tool doesn't need any annotation. So the code just builds without any IDE support. And this is the greatest part, because when you depend on ID support, it's tough sometimes, because sometimes the plugins are not working really well, and sometimes the build doesn't work, and you don't know why, because there are some magic behind. And my tools use some magic. They use bytecode manipulation, but I have applied a little bit less magic than Lombok applies, and I think that this is the best part of my tool. But yes, you can migrate, and when you migrate, when you de-Lombok, you remove everything Lombok that is Lombok specific, and your code will just build usually without my tool or not, with my tool or not. So if you want to include my tool, it's an option. You don't need it. Your code will build without it. When you remove Lombok without using the de-Lombok tool to change your code, your project doesn't build anymore.
Okay, I understand. So the remaining questions, I'll just paste them on the group so that we can move higher. Thank you, Manuel.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Israel. I guess your question is answered. And Mr. Sam, you have your hands up. Can you go ahead with your question?
Um, Good evening, Mr.
Good
Manuel.
evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for this great presentation. Although the time is fast spent, but let me just ask this this one. So, what I don't know. My question is very simple. Like TypeScript now, when you are building your front end, like what framework would you recommend or is best to work with using TypeScript for your front end, as let's say as a full stack developer?
So the question is not clear. Could you try to repeat, please? What I suggest using? Why I
Okay, yeah.
suggest using TypeScript?
What framework? Yeah, what
Oh,
framework?
oh, oh,
Like what
What
front end
framework?
framework would you? Yes, what should would you like? Would you recommend that's best fit for
Okay.
um TypeScript as a full stack, like Java? Like the topic of this session is TypeScript Java, a match made for everyone. So what's that match for TypeScript? Even as a Java developer, that fits very perfectly. What's your recommendation?
Well, okay. Uh, the match between Java and TypeScript is at the language level, okay? It's not at the framework level. You can use any framework you want, both in the back end and in the front end side. But for this application that I have shown you, I'm using Spring, which is really popular in the Java ecosystem. And for the front end, I'm using TypeScript, of course, but with Next.js as the front end framework and React as the component library. So we have a lot of other uh, libraries that are used at the front end application, but Next and React are the principal ones, the most important ones. And as I said, I'm not a front end developer. I don't consider myself a full stack developer because I don't have design skills. Don't ask me to write a CSS. I'm not able to do that. Yeah, I can make things work. I can't make things pretty. So, but I think that Next.js as a front-end framework is really easy for Java developers to understand. Let me show you some code here. For instance, to make this clear, here at the back end, we have a controller and we have a service and and a repository. The repository is used to access a table in the database, and the controller is our web layer. It receives the HTTP requests, and the service layer is where we implement some business logic. But here we don't have business logic, specific business logics for this city service. I could have, but I don't have for this the sample application. If we go to the front end app, we will see a similar structure. For instance, here I have a city service, which is in the front end side. The service is a class that sends a request to the backend. It's like our controller. It's similar to our controller in the backend, but the service, it's just in the front end. The service, it fires requests to our backend, to our APIs, and the structure is very similar. We have classes. We extend some basic classes. We use generic keys, and it's very it's very easy to understand. This is like Java code, so it's really easy to get used to this structure. But the next JS part is the routing. So when the user, for instance, if he goes here and clicks in this link, this request is routed to somewhere in my front-end application, which in this case, it will be routed to this city feature. And this routing is managed by Next.js. And here in Next.js, we just need to use some to define some to follow some structure. And if you follow Next.js structure, you don't need to worry about this routing. For instance, here we have to define a folder which uses this structure here with this name, this specific name. If you see here, for instance, the other feature, the customer feature, it has a folder with the same structure. And what is this structure? If I go here, for instance, and click this button, I will visualize this record, this city record. If I go back and click here at this pencil, I will edit this record, this city record. And if I check the URL here, this is the route, the path that I'm accessing So for instance, here is in Portuguese, but is edit. I'm editing the city number 1. And this routing, the parameter parsing, this is done by Next. And these 3 dots here is to get these parameters. It is able to extract these parameters here. This one to know what city I'm accessing, and this one to know what operation I want to perform. So in this case, I wanted to edit the city number 1, and if I go here, for instance, uh, this application is a little bit more complex because it uses a lot of classes that we created to encapsulate all these features. So, for instance, I just have a use parents method here. This is a built-in Next.js method. It will be responsible to extract the parameters that I have just shown you. And here, for instance, I have the ID and an action. The action is this last part here. It indicates what action I'm looking to perform. Uh, in this example, the action is editing. I'm editing the record. So if you look here, it has a lot of React code. For instance, use effect. This is just React code. And if you don't know React, this is really complex, and you just need to get used to it. But if you check the code, it's just like HTML. So this is in fact JSX. The name of this. It's like a Java HTML inside JavaScript. It's called JSX. So JSX. So this is JSX code. So it's like HTML, but with JavaScript code inside. And for me, Next.js is the easiest part of the front end. So if I need to suggest some framework, I would say that Next.js is really easy to understand. But as I said, I'm not a front-end developer, and I'm not a front-end expert, and I know there are a lot of different front-end frameworks like Vue and Angular and Flutter, and it's really difficult to choose because usually it depends on taste and on your previous knowledge of other technologies. For instance, for me, as I work with TypeScript and JavaScript, it's easier to go to Next.js or even to Vue.js. It's easier for me. But Flutter, for instance, is a different animal because it uses a different language. It uses Dart, and the way the language works is different, despite it's a object-oriented and functional programming language, but it's different. So yeah, I think Next.js is a good option.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
All right. Sam, thank you for that excellent question. Mr. Chizoron, your hand is up. Please, can you go ahead with your question? Chizoron, go ahead.
Can you hear you? Can you hear me? Hello, Manuel.
Hello.
I just wanted to say I don't really have a question, but also me, I do have that same issue of not being a very good front end developer, and I've
Okay.
also tried to find a way to work around it. This your library, I think, is actually really, really, really good. My normal approach to this would have been I'll take my Java code and then I'll generate Open API spec, then generate to TypeScript again, and but it always felt as if it was a little bit too big, and I didn't have much control on the kind of classes that I wanted to get in my front end. But this your library is really great. Actually taking a look at it now, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
have
I think. Oh, sorry. Go on.
no, I just want to say you have a user. I just want to say you have a user. I think it's really what I need in my next project.
Yeah, I think the libraries they make it easier for you
And
when,
simple.
mainly when you aren't a front end developer, and if you work together, the front end and the back end team work together, this will speed up development and will reduce the integration issues. So I think it works really well. And you said about the open API spec, there are a lot of different tools that I want to remember right now, but I know there is a really good tool that you can use at the front end side to read the open API.json or .yml file
Yeah.
and generate code for you. And this is a different approach, right? But it works really well. Okay, so I really like this approach because Open API is a standard, and you just use that. But setting up these to work, you have to you it's more complex to set up your backend to generate the open API spec for you during build time, because you need your application to be running. So if you don't do nothing, getting this open API, an updated open API file, it's a manual work. You need to
Yes.
run your application. You need to access the Swagger UI here. For instance, let me show you.
And download
Um,
this spec.
here, we have here this link, and this is the open API spec, and the front end can read this file here and generate code for you. But uh, this is manual work. There are some tools. We have this open. Uh, I want to remember the name. JS. No, it's not JS Docs. Spring Docs. Spring Doc. We have this library. I am using this library, Spring Doc Open API, to
This your library.
generate. Yeah, to generate this interface for me. And I think they have some plugins, some other plugin here to, yeah, maybe it's this one. You just include this plugin, and when you build your project, it will save the open API file to your project folder. But I haven't used that before. But you can try. As you said, this is one way to go. But I prefer generating the TypeScript code from the backend. Why? Because uh, usually the heavy lifting work is at the back end side. You are responsible to create the classes, to define the relationships, and provide these to the front end. And using my tools, the tools that I created and the other tools that I have shown, we have an advantage because you can copy the Java docs to the TypeScript files using the Open API file. This one here, we don't have the docs, so not the same docs. You can have some docs here, but they are not the same docs because, for instance, here, if I go here, for instance, this is to get a given state or a city, for instance, a city. Here, I can get a given city, for instance, city number 1, and I have the results here, and I can have some documentation here. And this documentation, if I have some documentations, for instance, saying what is this ID, I can write some specific docs. I can include some text here to say ID is something, other what is each parameter. So this is just the name of the parameter, ID. I don't have actual documentation explaining what this parameter is. I can include that, but this is extra work.
Oh,
And yeah, and if I include that, it will show here at my spec, at my Open API file. But when I use my tools and I add some doc to the ID field, this doc will automatically be copied to the TypeScript code. So, but you have to choose between the two approaches and see what fits you better. Okay.
yes. You mentioned something about Java docs in your presentation. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the actual Java docs, like the UI, the normal Java UI documentation.
The Java documentation, it's
Yes,
copied. Yeah, it's copied to the generated DTOs. For instance, if I go here and open the city, I have this field here, state. It has Java docs. When I build, it will be created a city DTO, and the same Java doc is here. City, maybe city is a record? No. I don't know. Maybe I deleted. Let me try to rebuild the project here. But it will show here because I changed something and it's not showing the documentation here for that city state attribute. But let me see. Yeah, I changed something. It's not building anymore. So let me try. Let me try to reset for the previous state and try to rebuild the here. So the documentation is here now. So it's the same documentation, okay? And if I go to the front end and open the city, I have the same documentation. So it's always in sync, okay?
Yes. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tochgo.
All right.
Can you hear me? Tochgo.
Yes, I can hear you,
I
Kechi.
think
I can hear you.
it's very nice to have a session that you actually see a live debugging. It's very nice.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Yes, it's very nice. Thank
Makes
you very
sense,
much.
yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Ikechukwu, for your wonderful question. And um, Mr. John, your hand is up. You can go ahead with your question.
Hi there.
Hello. Okay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, very clear.
Yeah. I'm sorry for my accent. I'm Liberian. I'm not a Nigerian.
No problem.
I came to the call late because I received the link a little late. But if I didn't even see the presentation, but if you could spare some time, I have a few questions I want to ask about Spring security, and I don't know what is like your best go-to pattern when you're trying to secure a Spring Boot application. So if you can talk on that more, it will really help.
Sorry, I didn't get the question about Spring security.
What is your go-to pattern? What do you use to secure Spring application?
Okay, it's just Spring security. I don't think I have this in this example. Probably not. For sure, I don't have Spring security here because it's just a sample, okay? But let me see in the config. No, I don't have anything. I just have cores configured. So, but I don't have a JWT, for instance, for authentication. Okay, so when I open my front end here, I don't have any kind of authentication. So everything is open. My API is open. Everything is open for this sample. But the only security thing that I have is CORS. I have CORS enabled, so I can configure from where the backend application will accept requests. So this is configured here. If you see in this project, I have some env files, and I have a .env file here. This is the backend application, and I have this variable, and I'm saying that the backend will just accept requests from localhost on port 3000, but I don't have authentication. And Spring Security is the go-to to provide authentication, no doubt about it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. George, for your wonderful question. Mr. Muba, your hand is up. Please go ahead with your question.
How you doing, guys? Like the guy who was just on the talking. I'm from Liberia too, so I'm Jenkins. I joined the call little bit late because I got a link from George. So I wanted to ask, right? I've been learning Java through in college, and then most of the things that I was taught was the old Java, Servlet, and JSP. So, what is like migrating from the traditional Servlet and JSP technology to a modern framework like Spring Boot? Is there a huge learning curve, or what? I just like would like for you to just just show a little bit of light on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got your question. Well, you are learning JSP and old Java front-end technology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the curve I think is a little bit steep. It's not easy to move from this kind of technology to the current modern front-end technology because they are usually completely different. The way you write your code, you structure your application, the patterns are different. So you have to you are learning the basics. So you are learning about the HTTP protocol, the request response pattern, and this pattern it is the same because it's web application. So this doesn't change. So as you learn how these request response patterns work, and it will be easier for you to create a web application no matter what front-end technology you are using. But yeah, the curve is steep. If you look at the code here, let me open the front-end app here, and if you open some page, this is a page, right? So here I have that. Let me just run my backend here. I don't know if it will run. Let me check. Yeah, it's running. And let me see here. Okay, so this is the main cities page. It's showing all the cities that I have, and it's paginating. And if I look at the code here, let's go back to the front end. And this is city. Yeah, it's this one. And if you look at the code here, this is more like a backend code. You have constants, you have functions, you have imports. This doesn't look like front-end code up to here. For instance, here, you are creating an object. This is an array, an array with some objects. I have an object here, another one here, and this is just defining the columns that I'm seeing on this page. and but it's just code. This is a function. Okay, this is a function. It's not like the kind of code you see in these old technologies like JSP. And if we go there, go here, we have something that resembles HTML, because this is a tag. Okay, I have a tag here, and here I'm closing the tag, and this kind of thing you will see in JSP, for instance, because you use tags, but the rest of the code, it does not look like front-end code. This is programming. You are creating objects, you are creating functions. Basically, here is object-oriented programming. For instance, here I have a class, a city service class at the front end side, and when you are using JSP, you have a monolith. You have your back end and your front end inside the same application. So a lot of different components like this city service here that we have at the front end, you don't have at the back end using these JSP technologies. So you may have something like that, but they are completely different. For instance, here, the service class is to fire requests to the back end. And at the back end, I have a city service class too. This one. This is Java code, but it's the goal is completely different. Here, it's used to write some business logic to validate something or anything you need to write. So it's just validation. It's just business logic here. And here you are just sending requests to the backend. You can validate the parameters you are sending before sending the actual request, but it's completely different. But answering your question, the learning curve is steep. They are completely different worlds. The old front-end Java technology and modern front-end technology using JavaScript and TypeScript frameworks.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the answer. At least I get a lot of I have a lot of clarity now. So, what you using here, is it like a monolithic application where the front end and the back end everything bundled into one, or you have the API separate from the front end?
Here they are separate. As you said before, if you are using JSP, for instance, you have a monolith. Your back end, your front end are a single application. But here, no, I have two different applications running. I have the back end running on port 88. And this is my backend interface, which is just for admin purpose. And I have my REST API here. And my front end is running on the 3000 port. So they are actually two different applications, and they are communicating using REST and HTTP requests.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I think that's all. Yeah, I have full clarity now.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Muba, for your question. And thank you so much, Mr. Campos, for being able to clear all the questions and giving clarity to almost every question asked. Thank you very much for that. I don't know if any other person on the floor still have something to say, a question, a contribution, or comment whatsoever.
Oh, I just have to thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure. I have a friend in Nigeria. He worked with me during my PhD. We were doing the PhD together. His name is Mr. Musa Samaila, and he's back in Nigeria with his family. And I really like African people. I have some. I lived in Portugal for 4 years, and I have met a lot of African people, and I love you. You have a great energy and a great culture, and it's really great to be here with you and to share some of my knowledge with you. It's an honor for me. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mr. Campos. In the absence of no questions, I would really like to say thank you once more for your time and for your dedication and for your clarity. And in fact, you have made it, it's really a match made in heaven as at this moment. So we'll get to explore your libraries that you have introduced, and hopefully we should start contributing from here and see how we can also help to push the community and all of that. Um,
Okay. And just let me share my social networks here, if I may. You can connect with me using this link, and you can just follow this link or scan this QR code, and you can connect with me with link in LinkedIn, GitHub, and the presentation. I sent the links for the presentation and for the project that I have shown you here at the chat. It's just pinned. Just scroll to the top. You will see the links. Okay, and let's connect and get in touch. If you need something, you have any doubt, just connect with me at LinkedIn and drop me a message. I'll be happy to help.
all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Campus. Thank you for that. We NAIJA-JUG community, this is Nigerian Java User Group. We so appreciate your presence and your time, your efforts, and all you have put together to actually make this lightning talk a very wonderful one. We really do appreciate. Thank you so much, Mr. Campos. Um, we will be glad to also have you again sometime in the future.
For sure,
And
for sure.
I really do appreciate. And at this point, I'll be closing this section. I will really say thank you so much, the participants, for making out your time and to be present here at this very lightning talk section. We really do appreciate. I appreciate your time and your presence, your support for being here. Your questions, they matter a lot to us. And I would say from here, do have a wonderful day and do enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, night, depending on where you are.
Okay, for me
So,
it's evening. For me it's evening.
it's already late
Yeah.
evening here too. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Campos. We really appreciate your presence. Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Bye
Yeah,
bye. Bye bye, guys. Bye bye, everyone.
bye, sir. I really appreciate.